Okay, time for a new video, and whether you are somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this in one go, therefore I apologise in advance if I stumble over my words going forwards, and indeed if the quality of this video is fairly poor as well. If there's any lag, sadly it can't be helped, and hopefully it's not too much of an issue for you. This is yet another Eurovision 2020 related video here on my channel, and at the time of recording this video, barely 5 minutes ago, the second instalment of the Eurovision Song Celebration 2020 took place on the official Eurovision Song Contest YouTube channel. It lasted about an hour and a half, so about the same length as the show that we got on Tuesday. And yes, all we had really was the 18 songs that would have performed tonight on stage at the Ahoy in Rotterdam in the Netherlands had the contest not been cancelled. It was just the music videos or the national final performances really, in the official running order, as if the show was actually going ahead live on TV. Of course, all of those countries would have voted alongside 3 of the automatic qualifiers in the shape of France, Spain and the UK. And like with my previous video, I'm going to go through the songs, having now listened to them in full once again in the running order, which is always better, I feel, and let you know what I think. Some things that I didn't touch upon in my last video, I'm just trying to remember what they were, what things I forgot to mention. Certainly, on Tuesday, about 60,000 people seemed to watch the stream live, compared to 40,000 this evening. I think most of the comments, certainly in the chat on Tuesday's stream, were Russians, who were obviously supporting Little Big, and that's great to see, but they swamped the chat, which was just unnecessary in a way. So I wasn't really paying attention to the chat much anyway, but just thought I'd mention that. And also, I think there were some really unnecessary comments on Tuesday and indeed this evening. And when I say unnecessary, I mean rude. You know, some of these artists, if not all of them, may well have been watching the stream tonight and on Tuesday as well, so they would have seen people's comments about them. And yeah, some of them just weren't very nice at all. So yeah, and also, something that really bothers me is that a song is on your screen and everybody is talking about something else, which makes me think that you're just not paying the slightest bit of attention to what you're watching. Anyway, not really sure why I had to mention that. Let's go through the running order, shall we? Greece kicked things off. Stefania with Supergirl. I did not see Greece opening first myself. I predicted Austria to get things going, as did a lot of people. But anyway, the Greek song isn't a bad song by any means. It does feel a little bit like a junior Eurovision entry. Stefania, of course, a former junior Eurovision representative for the Dutch several years ago as part of a group. I've made some notes this time. I've put here, damaged by being on first, still probably going to qualify, and I think that they would have had rather spectacular staging for this. You know that bit in the music video where Stefania levitates towards the end of the music video? I think they would have tried to recreate that on stage. So I think being on first, a rather spectacular, flashy opening to the second semi-final. But the juries wouldn't be so keen on this. The public, maybe not a huge amount of points either. I still think Greece would have gone through, just not convincingly, and being on first is damaging to Stefania's chances. But it doesn't really matter, because the contest isn't happening. Song 2, Estonia. Dead and Buried, I'm afraid, if it wasn't already. I really don't mind this song. It's actually a personal qualifier of mine. Yes, it's a bit cheesy. Yes, it isn't that original. Yes, the music video's quite dull as well. This is Uku Savista with What Love Is. I really don't have much to say about this. Jury friendly. Still, coming after Greece? Question mark. Yes, Greece would have stood out more. Still damaged by being on first, but Greece would have stood out more than Estonia, no doubt about it. I think the juries would have appreciated Uku quite a bit, but the public, really not at all. As such, not a qualifier. Maybe even last place in this semi? Possibly. We'll never know. Song 3, Austria. Really not bad. may have been a jury darling. I think I've said that in a previous video. Something just gives me the feeling that the juries might actually have really gone big for Vincent Bueno. The song is called Alive. He's an Austrian Filipino musician, as I've said many times before, and I'm sure you were all aware of that anyway. I don't really have many other notes about this Austrian song. Very much in the mould of Justin Timberlake. This would have been slick and flashy, and I'm sure he would have sang this very well on stage at the Ahoy, but I don't think it would have gone through actually, which is a shame because it's not that bad. Song 4, Moldova, yeah, I really don't think this would have qualified now. There is an urgency to this song, it builds up quite nicely. Natalia Gordienko, returning artist of course. What I've put here is good staging may have helped, and benefits from being in semi-final 2. Yes, Moldova, had they been drawn into semi-final 1, no chance whatsoever. At least being in semi-final 2, they would not have been totally forgotten about. Yeah, it's not a bad song. I know I keep saying that. I know it's irritating to hear me say that. But this Moldovan song really isn't bad, and it just would have been lost in the mix. Absolutely. Song 5, San Marino. Well, if Serhat can finish in the top 10 in the public vote last year in the grand final, could Senate have done the same? I don't think so, but this would not have been totally ignored by the juries of the public, but it wouldn't have qualified either. Senate, another returning artist. Listening to it tonight in full for the first time in weeks, I quite enjoyed it. The music video is a little bit all over the place. The performance in Rotterdam would have been very striking and colourful and quite messy, in all honesty. But, I mean, 3 minutes of fun. I think we need something like this in every semi-final. In fact, we need several doses of it in every semi-final we get. But I don't think San Marino would have gone through. Then we had a pause in proceedings where some of the artists sang their entries in their native language. That was fine. Let's move straight on to Song 6, Czech Republic. Not as bad as I thought it was. Then again, this was the first time I listened to Ke Mama by Benny Cristo for the first time probably in about 2 months. It's just not the sort of song that I gravitate towards. Anyway, there's this Afrobeat thing going on. He's half Angolan, I believe. Contemporary. This would do well in the British charts if by a British artist. Let me tell you that right now. No idea what he's singing. I need to take a look at the lyrics again. I'll be honest, I couldn't really understand the lyrics or what he was trying to sing about. I've also put Beach Song because this does have a bit of a summery vibe. It's the sort of song that you'd get playing in the background at some sort of Ibiza club party. You know the sort of thing I'm on about. But anyway, Czech Republic, would it have qualified? Maybe. We might have had a Lake Malawi thing happen again. Friend of a friend, I did not expect to do as well as it did. Maybe Ke Mama would have been pushing for a top 10 finish in the grand final this year as well. Who knows? Serbia next. I mean, this was just great. I know it was the music video, but this was just great. You know that this would have been a sensational live performance in Rotterdam. It's Hurricane with Asta La Vista, Sanja Vucic back, of course, and Knez, his daughter, on stage, along with one other female. I've put fierce, sassy, striking. This year's Fuego moment, potentially. I'm sure you'll know what I mean by that. Hopefully, had the contest been going ahead, they wouldn't have sacrificed vocals for choreography, because this is a song that needs strong choreography, but you can't forget about your vocals as well. The juries, like with Greece, probably not their favourite, but the public votes very high, as such, in the final with some ease. Poland then, Song 8, Alicia with Empires. Here, the vocals are absolutely fantastic. For somebody so young to sing so well, sublime. And I think I said in my previous video, or one of my previous videos, if she comes back with an even stronger song next year, I think Poland could be serious contenders for the first time in a long time. I've put here, for Poland, superb vocals, dramatic, more of a Bond-type song than Belgium from Tuesday evening, in my opinion, and I've written that here. Don't have much else to say. Sandwiched between two quite vibrant and vivid, I know vibrant and vivid mean the same thing, but you know what I mean. Sandwiched between two more engaging performances, perhaps. Poland might have struggled. I still think she would have gone through, though. The juries would have actually liked Poland this year, I feel. Song 9, Iceland. At the end of the first half, I would never have guessed. This is Dathi and Gagna Magnith with Think About Things. I mean, interesting that they showed the live performance of this song. On Tuesday night, they showed the music video for Lithuania, whereas I thought they would have shown the live performance from the national final. What have I got here? I didn't see anybody from Iceland talking in the chat. Maybe I missed them. But anyway, simple but effective, all about the choreography. You take that away, is this song as good? I don't know. Stands out so much, I've written here, and it really does. I mean, this would have blown away everything else before it, even the Serbian song. Iceland going through without breaking a sweat. And then we had Switzerland, song 10. Now, surely I'm not the only one here who thinks that something dodgy is going on here. The producers know full well that Switzerland and Iceland are two of the big favourites this year. To put them next to each other, dearie me, I would not have done that at all. It's such a different type of expression. Iceland's is upbeat and fun and let's have a party, and Switzerland's like, you know, let's cry and drown our sorrows. But the Swiss song, absolutely fantastic. One of the strongest ballads we've had for a very long time in Eurovision. And to think that Switzerland had something really upbeat and catchy last year, to go from that to something really low-key and quite sad but beautiful, I mean, Switzerland can do both, so it seems. What have I written here? After Iceland, ? Never in a million years. That's all I've written for Switzerland, but it would have qualified. John's Tears, Répondez-moi. Oh man, fantastic. Such a beautiful song. Really is. And a really likeable performer as well. Still so young, he's going to have a great career. Song 11, Denmark. Say Yes, of course, by Ben and Tan. This was really great in the Danish national final because of the orchestra, which they wouldn't have had in Rotterdam. So part of me wonders whether it wouldn't have been as strong on that Eurovision stage. Anyway, yeah, Denmark would have gone through because it's a very charming song, same as Denmark last year, you know. And Love Is Forever, people underrated it. It did better than people thought. This might have done better than people thought as well. I really don't have anything else to say about Denmark. I really like it. It's actually my second favourite from this second semi-final, and I think it would have gone through quite comfortably. Yes, moving on, song 12. Yes, you see what I did there. Song 12, Albania. This is Arelena Ara with Fall from the Sky. It's been a long time since this song was chosen, of course, back before things went a little bit strange in the world, of course. Anyway, Arelena is a fantastic singer. So many great female singers this year, it's unbelievable. I was actually watching the music video for this for the first time. It was released the other day. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, great singer. I like the revamp. I don't mind that it's in English. And I appreciate this song so much more now than I did several weeks ago. Is it a personal qualifier of mine? No. Do I think it would have qualified in real life? Maybe, but I'm not sure who would have missed out instead, because the Czech Republic's right there. You could consider them a borderline qualifier. Austria, Georgia, Armenia. I mean, I don't know. Some of these countries have got to miss out, you know what I mean? But a fantastic ballad. Really not bad. So powerful, you know, really captivating. The voice just draws you in, if you see what I mean. Anyway, Finland, song 13. This has, or would have had, absolutely no chance, I'm afraid to say. If it had been Cicciolina, number one, I think Finland would have been on last, and number two, Finland would have qualified, no doubt about it. Unfortunately, looking back by Axel, yeah, the issue here is that it is low-key, that's fine, but there wouldn't have been anything truly interesting about the performance. The staging would have been similar to what it was in UMK, where he just stands there singing into the microphone with all of these images of people walking on the backdrop behind him, and then this red light. It just gets a bit too repetitive, runs out of steam, which I've said a lot in previous videos. I like it, but it wouldn't have gone through. Let's be realistic here. Song 14, Armenia. I mean, this would have woken the crowd up in Rotterdam, absolutely. Athena Manukian with Chains on You. This is pop, R&B, hip-hop, rap, sort of a meld of all of those genres. What have I written here? Growing in popularity. I think this would have gone through. I really do. Much, much better with the public than the juries. I can't imagine the juries would have gone absolutely crazy for this song. You could say it's trashy. You could say the Serbian song is trashy as well, but that doesn't always matter, does it? What else have we got here? Yeah, would have stood out a lot. I really think so. You know that the performance on stage in Rotterdam, it would have been very striking. There would have been, you know, quick camera angles, maybe a couple of dancers on stage, lots of flashing lights, pyros, the whole works. And Armenia really needed to go big this year because their qualification record recently hasn't been that great. Portugal, song 15. First time listening to this song for me in weeks. Really quite charming, really quite pleasant. It's a pretty ditty. What I've written here is pretty but dull, so pretty dull. And sadly, yeah, I mean, while it is, you know, a very sweet, relaxing song, this is not high impact enough. It would not have made any sort of impression on the audience and in everybody watching at home as well. Hopefully she'll come back for Portugal at some point. I don't think it's going to be next year though. Not as bad as I thought. So Portugal, while my ranking of the songs in this second semi-final has barely changed, maybe it will change in the coming days, you never know, I do like Portugal's song more now. So that's got to be something positive, yeah? Song 16, Georgia. Just can't get into this one. I should say before Georgia, we had the whole thing with the fans, who I didn't recognise, but clearly they must have some sort of YouTube following. Seems to me as though they didn't really have any concept of these songs before whoever it was asked them to react to them. I was expecting people from Wee Wee Blogs, ESC Extra, ESC United. I was expecting recognisable names. Instead, we got a bunch of people that I'd never recognised, never seen before in my life. We had them on Tuesday as well. I mean, I've got no issue with them, but their reactions seemed really forced, and that's all I've got to say about it. Georgia, this is one of the rockiest entries of the year. Tornika Kipiani with Take Me As I Am. I think it's actually Ornika Kipiani. I don't think you pronounce the T as harshly as I have been. Anyway, who cares? The Georgian entry, ominous, dark, venom. That's what I've written down here. You know, it packs a punch, this. It sort of whacks you over the head and says, you will listen to this Georgian entry. Anyway, what have I got here? Just too jarring for me. I like rock music. I don't mind this style. But I just can't get into this. Good slot in the running order, though. I mean, it stands out more than Portugal. Would have stood out more than Portugal, of course. Would the jurors have appreciated this? I don't think they would have done. No final, as far as I'm concerned. But what do I know? Bulgaria, song 17. Obviously going to go through. Victoria would have known this as well. I really like her. She'll be back next year, and I'm sure she'll be a contender again. Tears Getting Sober has grown on me slowly but steadily over the past few weeks. I really like it. All I saw in the chat, not that I was really paying attention to it, Billie Eilish, Billie Eilish, Billie Eilish. And this is very similar to the style of music that Billie Eilish does. That's not a bad thing, because she's so popular. If you have a song that sounds like something she would do, people will gravitate towards it. As I've said before, sad pop seems to be a very popular genre at the moment. It's teenage angst. I said this in one of my previous videos. It's teenage angst, but not in your face. You know, this isn't Smells Like Teen Spirit, for crying out loud. This is Tears Getting Sober. Much more melancholic, quite sad. Music video isn't really that visually arresting, I would say, but she's great. Her voice is great. She did a cover of Arcade. I think that was great as well. Would have qualified, and clearly the producers liked Bulgaria more than Switzerland, and I think that's all I'll say about that. Leaving Latvia to close the semi-final. Now, I did predict Latvia to close the semi, and I also got Moldova's position correctly, so 4 out of however many it is correct for me in terms of predicting the running order, because I got 2 on Tuesday as well. The Latvian entry, Samantha Tina with Still Breathing. This would have been quite messy live, I feel. It's quite a shouty song. See, this is one that, again, is sort of in your face compared to the Bulgarian one. Does it overshadow Bulgaria, I've put here? Would people have remembered Latvia more than Bulgaria? I don't think so. The Bulgarian song is stronger and different in its own way. Brassy, loud and messy. The verses are not that bad. But yeah, I mean, this is just... I don't know what it is. It feels as though it was just put together very quickly and it's not quite clicking yet. That sounds like an insult. It really isn't meant to come across that way. I don't mind this song. It's just a little bit all over the place. But does it work? Because it's all over the place. I don't know. It's a shame Samantha will not get her chance to be at Eurovision this year. Maybe she'll come back at some point. I think she deserves to. Maybe a duo, you know, with Marcus Riva. I mean, he deserves to go to Eurovision at some point as well. Latvia being on last would have really given them a chance of going through. And then we had the fan recap, which was quite cool. I vaguely recognised a few people. I liked the clip in the Georgian part of the recap where it was the two Italians and they were in quarantine, they were outside, but they were like, why don't you take me as I am? And like they couldn't touch each other because of social distancing. I just thought that was quite a humorous clip. But yeah, the fan recap, actually one of the strongest elements of the two celebration shows that we've had, and maybe they'll do it again next year because it seems as though it's been quite popular. We also had France. My first time at last in full listening to the revamped version. Not nearly as bad as people make it out to be. Would it have struggled at Eurovision? Absolutely. Bottom 5, I'm afraid. Tom Lieb as well. Probably the most un-French sounding person you could possibly imagine. I mean, he sounded as though he was doing a commercial. This suave and sophisticated American accent, which I'm not doing a great job of. But yeah, I mean, he's obviously very handsome. I think people would have voted for him perhaps because of that. You never know. But the song, The Best in Me, really not that bad. Spain, fine, but they love the bottom 5. They love the bottom half, as I've said many, many times before. And the UK, it's anybody's guess. Much better with the jurors than the public. I didn't really talk about Germany, Italy and the Dutch in my previous video, but Germany would have got their best results since Michael Schulte, and they should be very proud of Ben Dolic. Hopefully he'll be back next year. Italy, sublime, classy. I mean, we are going to see in the Europe Shine a Light programme on Saturday night Diodato perform in Verona, and it will be a very emotional moment for a lot of people, I'm sure. And then Jean-Guy McCroy for the Netherlands. Grow is so underrated and would have done well in the final. I feel sure about that, because the jurors in particular would have dished out points left, right and centre. And that's all I've got to say. Apologies if the quality of this video wasn't great and if I rambled far too much, but feel free to let me know your thoughts on the second semi-final of Eurovision 2020. My lasting impressions, I suppose, if that's the right term to use: Switzerland after Iceland, no way Jose. Armenia, I think, have a pretty good slot in the running order, and I think Chains on You would have gone through as a result. I feel pretty confident about that now. Estonia, no chance, I'm afraid. It's a great shame to say that, because I do love Estonia in the contest. Greece might have really struggled. I think Iceland probably would have crushed the opposition here, besides the Swiss and Bulgaria. I mean, I think we would have had a definite top 3. And that's all I've got to say. That really is it now. I'll be back at some point soon to talk about the Eurovision replacement programme, the official one, and also the one that the BBC are doing on Saturday night. Do leave comments, do check out my other social media pages. I really do appreciate it. It's been a little bit tough over the past couple of weeks because obviously the contest isn't happening, and therefore, like a lot of other people's channels about Eurovision, the views have taken a hit. Not that it really bothers me too much, but please do spread the word about this video and this channel if you so wish. You don't have to do it, and I never really ask you to anyway. I must shut up now. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. There'll be more blog posts too, link in the description. Pretty good show, but I think the first semi-final was better. Until next time, thank you very much, and bye for now.